Okay, so we are here to share we're going to share a few things today. It's been a while. Welcome back to this parallel now. For those of you joining on a replay, for those of you here right now, welcome. I'm doing a spontaneous live just because it's been a while and I want to bring forward whatever is meant to be brought forward. So to begin, welcome. Let's go ahead and just dial into this infinite now of perfection, and we're going to illuminate with a beautiful white light. So imagine the love light from Father, Mother of light to bring in the most clarity that could ever be brought forward to you, through you, as you. So bring in the white light, this luminescent love light, and let it fill up your brain, both hemispheres of the brain. We're going to ask for an activation for you to come into oneness, to wholeness of the unified brain. For your remembrance, your re-emergence, that it was all love. So anywhere where there is duality and judgments, we're going to ask for those all to neutralize now and come back into the oneness and the wholeness of the one mind that no longer needs to define or judge. It can witness, and it can witness all as love. You can birth a new now, every new now of love, simply by witnessing and maintaining a oneness way of actualizing. And so this invitation of the luminescent love light to do this type of practice of luminescent whole mono brain, we're going to also unify the heart. So the whole heart, luminescent love light, with the whole head and the whole heart are now luminescent love light. The heart center, the ascended thymus and heart organ itself, as well as the energetic heart center, the heart mind, and even the lower body, all becomes luminescent love light. So the whole torso, the whole head, out into the limbs, out into the arms and the legs, and all into the aura, this luminescent love light, this white light. Coming back into unification, into oneness, into the ability to maintain presence as you harmonize and purify with your presence and willingness to be this. And then come back into your heart, back into that energetic center, and open your eyes from there. Okay, we're opening our eyes from there, from that plane. Each doorway, each gateway that we can fully embody. So each energetic center is a stargate, is a birthing plane. And when you occupy all gateways, you're going to occupy all planes. There's an infinite amount of planes to observe from if you're going to come out one stargate at a time, or if you're going to come out into the all, which is where you're heading in the oneness and the purification of your remembrance of how the reality is created and where your focus was or is now. So when it was it was down a fractal line, down a timeline, dreaming, forgetting that it was awake at the center of the now, creating that fractality of like a golden mean spiral. So if I am here in the presence, and I am dreaming and bringing wave of feeling, and I'm dreaming light, and my light that I dream has a perspective of doing something, and it golden means spirals out like a shell. And I forget that I'm here dreaming it, and I experience myself down that fractal line in what we would call a, like I said, a past moment or a future moment or a time moment. Then I may need to remember and come back to the now that I was dreaming. So I'm hoping to get these drawings a little bit more. Maybe I should draw bigger for you. Another thing that came to mind to share with you as I was doing the white light unification fullness is to just show you that again, when we are here, okay, and this is our Y and our X, and at the 0 point at X, at 0 frequency, it's not high, it's not low, it's at 0 point, and at the dimensions of Y, as this is the Y going up in frequency, and this is the dimensions. If I was to come out my third energy center, I'd be coming out of third density or viewing out of third density. If I'm to view out of this heart center at the 4th density, if I'm at the 5th density at the throat, how am I viewing? Where am I viewing? Am I viewing in the all? Or am I viewing out one density doorway? So when we were doing the white light at the beginning here, activation of unification, of being able to allow your genius brain to come back online and be full in its perspective or non-perspective of what you're observing or what you're creating in the reality creation of the now. When we look at the way reality is created, they show us 3 waves. They show us 3 frequencies of plasma light, creating a symphony to create the reality. And it's in this plane that we find ourselves in the avatar experience of the avatar bodysuit, that there is those 3 rays of light coming together to create the reality. And it's what Spirit likes to show me is that there's this one ray of light that works with the second ray of light, and they both are waving in hertz in a way that when one is up, there's a perfected second wave of light. Maybe I should draw that second wave of light in a different color. There's a perfected second ray of light that at the very same time is producing the exact opposite. So if you are forgetting that you are the dreamer and you are down a fractal line, or you are way high and way positive and way blissed out, if you still believe that there's going to be an other that would be way negative, then indeed, in the reality perfection creation in the hologram, you will experience another who may be directly mirroring the opposite of your bliss state. Now, the third wave of the whole being, the being who has recognized wholeness, oneness, and perfection of no point of view, of being a witness, there's a third wave that is pretty much a still point, and it's in the middle. Sometimes it has a little bit of movement, a little bit of hertz to it, or a very fast hertz. It may be at epsilon hertz, 0 to 0.5, or it may be at lambda hertz, 100 to 200 hertz. And this third wave of the witness, of the being that can hold the oneness, it may observe another version of itself who's very blissed out in the hologram, and a second version of itself very low, but it holds that stillness. It doesn't judge it, it just witnesses it. It can see how in some fractality of birthing of thought at some conception point that it may have had point of views that it's still witnessing. So I find that when we are awakening to these higher states of existence, we may not see many beings at all for a while. And then you may see some beings and they may show you these two versions of reality projections that you're still maybe working to purify, understand, forgive, right? So if I'm still witnessing as I sit here in the presence and I witness that, yes, I'm in still point, I'm holding that perfection of 0 point in witness mode. However, I may see two beings in front of me showing me my childhood of father and daughter still acting something out, one very high and one very low. And I just witness it. And I say, wow, I can see my hand in this. I can see how I projected this, how I still maybe needed to understand that these two versions of myself, these two versions of how I would perceive the father and the daughter are still echoing and playing themselves out in the hologram that that I'm projecting. So I could witness and just understand at a deeper level, not judge, not define, but just understand how I'm still fractaling things out. I could be in total gratitude of it, of the joy of getting to witness the playing itself out, right? We're coming out of that there's anything wrong with anything anymore and into the perfected state that this is all perfected now. This is all a space of the new world that's vibrating from love infinitely. And when we vibrate from love infinitely, eternally, we remember that it's all working, that it works, that everything is perfected, that everyone is receiving, that everyone knows they're the supply, that everyone knows they're eternal, that everyone knows that things can work out for them. So there's no judgment. There's just a knowing that all is perfect, all is whole, and that it can maintain that witness wholeness while it still watches the dance of the sunflower starting from a seed. And that sunflower that's still playing in the hologram of light and duality may be seen as a seed that then grows a stem and leaves and the petals, and that it infinitely golden mean spirals out until it decides to do it all over again and be the seed. So as we awaken to the quantum realms of existence, what does that mean? The quantum means the finite, by observing and knowing that there's a finite that is infinitely producing an infinite amount of those finite conception points in all sorts of frequencies, both higher and lower. And so it becomes a dance of dancing and experiencing the frequencies of love that you are infinitely vibrating out, right? If you've moved on from the lower natures, and you now are giving and receiving from the heart, from love's vibration infinitely. You are making a super conscious effort to give from your heart, to come out of the F ear, places where you were acting and moving and thinking and feeling and making decisions and choices from lower frequencies. If you folded that in, or you're doing your best to do so, and the majority of your reality is moving forward with making choices from love, from a true knowing in that now moment that this is what I'm doing. It feels right. It feels like I need to go help that person. That's another version of me that wanted help. And can I help the greater all? If in that now moment it feels right that you are sitting and maintaining a meditative pose for a while, then you do that until it feels that you will get up and do something else. If you are still finding the places that you've laid out a grid, a framework that has you bound in time and feeling guilt or worry over those time agreements, then we still invite you to work with the new Quantum Interstellar Starship and MedBed Aura book, and find those places. It's just had another edit to it. For those of you who ordered the very first one, there's a little bit more added to the F ear chapter. And if you did, reach out to me and I'll send it to you via email. Otherwise, you can do this ebook. You can get it paper, hardback, and in another few strong weeks, it'll be up on iTunes and Audibles once the producers are done with it to listen. But if you're still working and finding those places that need to be dealt with, where you laid out a blueprint in the hologram that has you feeling like you can't get from the old world into the new, or use the old world, recode the old world terms to be meaning what you would like them to be in the quantum realm of presence, right? In the realm of presence, in the loving, eternal being that you are, it is present. It is not bound in time. And so the F ear, I think it's chapter 9 or 10, dealing with all those topics and pulling them back or recoding them to mean something new, to be a new now moment loving reality creation station word, like F ear, frequencies that I hear, let them be full of love. Then we again just ask that you keep going, keep doing the inner work. It will get easier. You will get to a place, I promise, that all that you knew that was true of the most high, of the most joy, of the most love, of the most gifts, of the most, think apple, produce apple in the hand. That's coming. You may be at the second stage where you're in the synchronicity mode of think apple, and then someone walks up with an apple to you. Okay? We're progressing and we're evolving. But we have to wake up and remember what we actually are as an infinite radiant being that's eternally love light, perfected. And so this first quantum book, it felt like it was still dealing with things that we've dealt with through the years, recent, what we would call years, parallel nows. The second book that I'm almost done with, the second quantum book that's addressing like the total witness mode, the total wholeness mode, the oneness mode that knows what's really happening in each now moment with the reality creation. It is so powerful. As I write and listen, I'm so grateful that we're here now, that we are at the place of the new world where everything works out for everyone, where everyone receives because they know that they are the supplier, that they are a quantum generator of love light infinitely. And the book started because I was asked for several parallel years to rewrite Reiki and to share it the way I've been working with it, which is keys of light, rays of light, rays, so the rays, frequencies of light, and how they are keys. They're vibrational keys to wake us up. So when we looked at the traditional Reiki that's been taught for the last 20 plus years for myself, it was just looking at Master Sui's teachings, late 1800s, about Reiki, you know, being life force. It's a infinite soul life force energy, which is still true, but it needed to be evolved and brought to the quantum stance where this is eternal. It is beyond, you know, 100 years old. It's eternal wisdom and clarity of the avatar that we are. And we're actually going to be sharing that with someone today for the first time, the Reikis. And in a few, I would say, if you're watching this, we're in what we would call, you know, yesterday was like a solstice, June 21st. I would say by the end of what we would call this month, at least that's where we're at right now, we might not be using these type of time markers soon. It should be done pretty soon, like the second book, which is wild, and I'm grateful to share it. But we still do invite you to work with that first book. Okay, we also, over the past, I don't know, time has folded in to such a high level. We made lots of journals, gratitude, manifestation journals. We remind you that what you write is true, what you write is, and to keep working with your reprogramming until you no longer need to do that type of activity. But sometimes the way out is by going through the gateway and by assisting yourself with writing, right? Right. So is it right? We also will add in here when we've been making right turns, we've been acknowledging that, and when making left turns, we now kind of recoded that left rather than being left behind to be the light foot of the angel, or the light footing that we're taking when we go left. What else could I share with you as we complete? We have been guided to do an activation, and we pass this forward to you all if it feels right to you, or you tune in and get something similar, to take distilled water, put a couple drops in, do a drop of your first rising urine and an activating drop of saliva, and then top it off with alkaline distilled water. Put a perfected crystal shape, like an octahedron, which is like a diamond. I put a Herkimer diamond in one that I'm working with. I was also shown amethyst would be great. And to put a perfected crystalline shape in here, work with it, love on it, ask that it assist you with activating your crystalline DNA, and bringing your DNA, bringing your cell structure back to that crystalline, high vibrating frequency, turning on the master DNA and all DNA within the cell so that you are back to your multidimensionality, and that you can have these additional assistants to vibrationally come into alignment more instantly. So there's the seemingly slower work than when we do these kind of deep diving and digs looking in consciousness, where we have set up creation points in the mental plane that are causing us to ripple out realities from old unprocessed memories and emotions, right? That's the work of the first quantum book, the Interstellar book. or using an app. But what we want you to remember, why we wrote the second quantum book with the Reikis, is that it's simply meditating, doing breath work, working with the light within, of activating your crystalline DNA, working with the light, this rising sun, the setting sun, those rays, those high frequency vibrations, working with hertz, no sound music, playing crystal bowls, humming, tuning, toning, these vibrational adjustments that you can make with yourself, this intention, these all-encompassing intentions that speak to the everythingness, to everyone is receiving love and knows that they are loved, that all my cells are wide awake as love light eternally. These all-encompassing vibratory movements, initiations, it can be that quick. You are already where you want to be. You are lining up vibrationally to the most evolved version of yourself. So when you meditate or lay back or take a moment of breath, align and attune to your highest version self, to your whatever it is you're looking to bring into the presence. Align to that vibrational you and merge it. Allow it. Allow yourself to be that now. You already are it. You're just waking up other versions of yourself for a grand merger. And so before I complete what I have been guided to do with this, is put it at the back of where the occiput meets the base of the neck, that entry point, over the third eye sometimes, over the heart, back of the heart, and at the tailbone. And I do a little, invitation for the crystalline vibrational sequences to come in, come without, come from within, vibrating me back online so that all my DNA are multidimensionally open and activated so that I can see all realms, know all realms, and come into this grand merger with you. Be here now, knowing that what we put our focus on is. So if you know something to be true, if you know that you're here to play and create with the light and be able to instantly create a reality, a version of reality that you always knew was meant to be, where all was supplied for, where all was present, where all beings knew they were wide awake, that they were eternal souls, that they are eternal souls, then that's what that focus will bring. What I've noticed and what I'm working with is that if I, the first half of this so-called year was a lot of doing the deep digging with the submarine missions underwater and finding, where we were lost at sea. And as my focus has come off of that, coming back into our instant quantum nature of think apples in my hand, that's the focus. Meaning, if I was working on any activations from those deep dives, knowing that we are the supply, and in the second level version of reality creation, we were seeing our supply as currencies that we were playing with. Then those currencies, us being able to receive the currencies that we generate through our autograph and signatures, are there to be worked with and played with as long as that's your focus, as long as that's what your reality is. So if your reality is to still work with those as just sheer joy and play, and the old meanings and definitions do not mean those things to you anymore, if you can really let all that go and as you're in the second level of still defining things, as you redefine it and have it mean or be coded what you want it to be, what you know it's meant to be, what it was created to be, and you can work with that and hold that focus, then that's what will be. And I bring this up because someone reached out this rising about, that process that I was working with. And I still have that out there as a fractality to play with. However, the focus of the presence that I be has been focused on writing these quantum books and getting this completed because it holds that third level, that grand poupée of instant manifesto, of knowing that we are the supply of light, that when I know that I'm supplying, I'm the generator of the light that is, and I'm sitting here at the creator seat, and I'm so in the love's vibration, then I I will know that I've arrived when it's instantly coming back to me. When it's still taking some seemingly time, it means I'm still rewinding and finding places that are holding shadow, that I shine the light, the bright light, but it still casts a shadow because I'm still out there fractally, having anchors holding maps in place, mental plane, blueprints in place that are based on time. So when you have things instant, it's because you're allowing the instant, you're super present, you're in the joy, you're in the love, you're in the giving, knowing that the gift is the receptivity to receive. And again, I was bringing up a topic that when you can be wide awake in all dimensions and all fractalities and in all existence, in all parallel nows, you can maintain focus on one project and be working in the presence of this now on seemingly another, and they'll all come in at that perfect now moment. So it's not that one, just gets washed away unless it's meant to. If you are no longer meant to, what does meant mean? The mind. If you are no longer meant to hold in that mind, what does mind do? It casts light to create a blueprint, to create a reality configuration to experience. You're no longer meant to hold that in mind. Then you are where you are in the presence. Enjoy the presence of what you are experiencing right then and there. The more you can get into the experience of what's right in front of you and come into alignment, enjoyment, and love with, and gratitude and acceptance that this is what I'm creating, and find your enjoyment with it, you're in alignment with it, you're in the presence and acceptance of it, either the witness of it or the moment of play with it, that it's just playing because you're here to play. And sometimes that play will be a slightly higher frequency, hertz, that gets you in the more upper realm of the light ship, the starship that you are. So that upper torus, that upper tetrahedron begins to spin, balancing the lower tetrahedron, so the starship. When you enjoy and you're not just witnessing and still point, but you're in that first, wave that I drew, then you're playing and you're enjoying. You're still present because you're occupying all of the light now, that you know that you're all the characters in the play, the one. However, you may be in the realm of enjoyment of it and playing in this perfected experience where the avatar has sensation to feel and use all the senses to experience itself in this playland. And then you may say, come sit back down, take deep breaths, witness, and enjoy the light that you are wielding. All right. Happy grand now. We love you. We honor you. Let's bring ourselves to this present moment. Let's bring our hands to our heart and elicit the beautiful, what we would call the ray key, fourth frequency, the fourth key, which is the beautiful rose ray. Imagine the rose ray is opening and shining beautiful rose light from the thymus, that high heart. Smile and know true love. Know that all is here to be experienced as the rose that you are experiencing of the rose ray, the frequency of light, of love. You are the love, you are the light. I am the light, I am the love, I am the way, I am the truth home to this here now. Have a great day.